वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेशमनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्य माव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम्। सन्नियं येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः। क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषामव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्। मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः। अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय। अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्मा परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि। अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्। श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः। मय्यार्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यस्मान्नो युज्यते लोको लोकान्नो युज्यते जयः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगै मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः। अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान् यः स मे प्रियः समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिरमौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धधाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेऽतीव मे प्रियः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता सूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः हरिः ओम तत्सत् हरिः ओम तत्सत् हरिः ओम तत्सत् श्री कृष्ण परमस्तु शुभं भूयात् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
उपस्थित भगवत भक्तों के रूप में मेरी अपनी ही आत्माओं, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता भगवान के मुखारबिंद से निकली हुई अमर वाणी है और जो भी जीव श्रद्धा सहित इस अमर वाणी को धारण करता है वो जीवत्व को छोड़कर ईश्वरत्व की प्राप्ति करता है, इसमें कोई संशय नहीं है। ये जीवात्मा चाहे जिस देश में रहे और चाहे जिस भेष में रहे, गीता सबका सब काल में समान रूप से कल्याण करने वाला एक अनुपम एवं अलौकिक ग्रंथ है।
Kachulena nadena magana rahena Kachulena nadena magana rahena Panjatattwaka बन्ना बिचारा उसमें बोले मेरी मैना कछु लेना न देना मगना रहना तेरे पिया तेरे कट में बसता है सखी खोल कर देखो नैना कछु लेना न देना मगना रहना नाव पुरानी खेवट slowly and gently open your eyes and know that you are special, unique, pure consciousness. All you have to do is to shine brightly wherever you go, to whomever you meet, and you'll be helping the world and the universe. Stay blessed.
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. On behalf of Swami Geeta Kiran ji and Joshi ji, I wish you all a very warm welcome. Thank you for being with us this evening. Dr. Kapoorji has had a family emergency, and at the last minute, he could not make it. So, having said that, I'd like to hand it over to Joshiji to please take it over from here. Joshiji.
Thank you very much, Vijayji. As we know, or maybe we should, Geeta Kiranji has gone in full moon until June 3rd. And on June 3rd, she will come out and speak on the special full moon meditation, which is a ritual she does every month on full moon. So please mark your calendar for June 3rd. Chicago time 8 a.m., New York, Canada time 9 a.m. It will be 8 p.m. Thailand time. Since Kapoor Sahib will be taking care of certain urgency, I sincerely request Dr. Prasadji to please begin today's satsang. We will have more time today, and I talked to Vivek Kamran in case he can come at the tail end and talk about the preparation of the yearly conference, Minnesota conference. So we will see when he comes. Thank you, Dr. Saab. Please take it.
Thank you very much. Shall I leave 5 minutes towards the end?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And when he comes, I will let you know.
Okay. All
Thank
right. Okay. Vansi Vibhushitakara Navanirdava Pitambara Darunabimba Phaladharostha Purnendu Sundara Mukha Arvinda Netra Krishnat Param Kimapi Tattvamaham na jane Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Divine souls, Jai Shri Krishna to each one of you for participating in this wonderful Thursday meets. As you all know, we are going through the Yagya Prakaran in chapter 4. We have dealt with Brahma Yagya, that is in verse 24, Brahmaram Brahmavid. And we have also dealt with Deva Yagya and Atma Samarpana Rupa Yagya. This we covered last week, which is given in verse 25. Today, we shall be dealing with verse 26, which deals with two more Yagya, and they are Indriya Sanyama Yagya and Vishaya Havana Yagya. Let me make it, let me emphasize the fact here that these are the Yagya, or these are the sadhanas which each one of us should try to bring into practice as much as possible. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is full of all kinds of sadhanas which Bhagavan has prescribed, and lot of thoughts and vivek and vivechan on each one of them, these sadhanas throughout Bhagavad Gita. We must, here is the portion where most of the sadhanas are very much concentrated at one place. In these 12 yagya, practically all sadhana one can bring into practice has been concentrated at one place. One sadhana, another sadhana. I have been trying to explain that, the fundamental principles which I have gone through earlier. And now I am going through the various yagya one after another. And they are almost all of them are sequentially presented so that we deal with one, then we deal with other, and like that. Like the Brahma Yagya, we dealt with that situation where there is nothing else but Brahma and Brahma alone. Everything is Brahma. That sadhana, there cannot be any sadhana higher than that. A situation where we are able to feel Brahmamaya Jagat. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. Everywhere is Vasudeva. That is the state one has to reach. That is the Brahma Yagya. We also dealt with Deva Yagya, where we should make a differentiation between the thing which is worldly and which is not worldly. Give up the worldly matters, and realize that there are certain things which do not belong. That is worldly and should be discarded. And that is what Deva Yagya we talked about. Then we talked about Atma Samarpana Rupa Yagya, where one is able to sacrifice his ego. The ego has to be surrendered onto the feet of the Lord, and one should get rid of ego. Of course, this is also very high level of sadhana. One should, but must understand first, and then we can only practice. So there is a state of Atma Samarpana Rupa where you surrender yourself entirely onto the feet of the Lord. That is Atma Samarpana. Today we are going to deal with two more very important and very practical kind of sadhana, which are given in these two yagya, the Indriya Sanjama Yagya and Vishaya Havana Yagya, which are concentrated in one verse, verse 26. Let us look at the verse. In verse 26, Bhagavan says, Srotraadinindriyanyanye sanyamagnishu yujyati Shabdadin Vishayananya Indriyagnishu Yujyati. As I mentioned, there are two situations here. One says, Anye, yet there are others. Srotradi Indriyani, that is the sense organs like the sense of hearing. Srotra, that is the hearing, and this is one sense organ. He says, this is given an example among all the 5 sense organs. He says, like as for example, Srotra, that is hearing, the sense of hearing. Sanyam Agni Yujyati, you surrender that or you offer that onto Sanyam, that is restraint. The fire of restraint should be there, in which you submit your sense organs. Here the emphasis is on the word sense organs, while the second half, where Bhagavan says, Shabdadin Vishayananya. Shabda is sound, that is the Vishaya, a kind of Vishaya, that object. In the environment, we have the 5 objects, Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the objects which our sense organs receive. So there is a situation, this is every day happening, day in, day out, all the time, we are exposed to all these environmental objects in the environment, that is sense objects, that we call it Vishaya. That Vishaya, Bhagavan says here, offer the objects like sound and the rest, where onto the fire of sense organ. So you dissolve the senses into sense organs, the objects of senses to the senses. I will explain that in a minute. So here, just giving the translation of the verse, Bhagavan says there are 2 things. One is, you should be offering sense organs to the restrainer, and other is the sense objects into the senses. Let me explain. It looks like confusing, but it's not confusing. It is very clear. I will certainly explain this so that nobody goes without having clear concept of what it is. But because this is happening day in, day out, we are faced with this situation. And if through sadhana, we are able to overcome this problem, these issues, we are enlightened, already enlightened. So this is the fundamental, basic, lowest level of sadhana, which one must do, try to do anyway. So let us take the object first. The second part, Sabdadin Vishyan Indriyagnishu Yujyati, what one should do. Here what is happening, the oblation, as we remember, all the time when we talk of yajna, we talk of 3 things. One is the oblation, the other is the fire into that oblation goes, and the resultant, what happens. So 3 things, whenever deal with yajna, all the 3 things we take into consideration. So what is the oblation here? We are putting sense objects as an oblation. And what are those sense objects? Shabd, Spars, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the objects, sense objects in the environment. We put that into what? Into the fire of respective sense organs. See, we have heard about Indriyan Indriyardesu Vartanta iti dharyan. Naiv kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit Pastan, Sprasan, Sran, Giranan, Suran, Gachan, Sopan, Sosan, Pralapan, Bisadan, Giranan, Unmisandi, Indriyarthe, Indriyani, Indriyarthe Su, Vartanta iti dharyan. This is the philosophy. This is the principle, which is given in verse 9 of chapter 5, where Bhagavan very clearly mentions Those who are tattvavit, those who are having their attachment with Brahma, they are already in union with Yukta. That means union with Yukta, that they do not consider the interplay into the sense organ and senses. They go on. The interplay of senses with sense organ go on, but we do not take that into consideration. When we go to the market, don't we see thousands of things there? But where are we attracted? Those who are the ladies, when they go to the department of ornaments, they will run towards that. Even the artificial jewelry will attract them and they will go there. They may not be interested in the books which are also on display in the market. In the supermarket, there are hundreds of things there. But depending upon the liking and disliking of an individual, one will go towards the book, other will go towards jewelry. But the one who goes towards book, he forgets about what he is seeing insofar jewelry department is concerned. He is almost blindfolded towards it doesn't matter. Those who don't like sweets, they will not like to, or those who have got not so much of liking or attraction towards the fruit, they will not go towards food. So that depends upon how you have trained your senses. If your senses are trained in such a way that you do not like it to run towards the sense object, that is what is required. One has to train our senses. हमारी आंख भागेगी उस तरफ नहीं जो हम नहीं देखना चाहते हैं, हमें उसे देखना नहीं है. So we don't allow our eyes to go towards that. We do not allow our nose or smell towards a particular area. We have all those, but we have trained our those. Why we do not like that? Because we know the consequences. The moment our senses are attracted towards sense object, dhyayato vishayan pungsah sangat se supajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate krodhad bhavati sammoha sammohat smrad brahmat Svimrdad buddhinaso buddhinasat pranasyati. We know this. Don't we know? Every one of us. There is nobody those who are reading Gita and who are following Bhagavad Gita, these things are hammered in our mind. Dhyayato vishayan pungsaha. Vishaya, the word Vishaya here is important. The moment you are ध्यायतो, ध्यान जैसे ही आपके विषय की ओर आपकी इंद्रियां जाती हैं, काम वहीं गड़बड़ा शुरू हो जाता है. क्या हो जाता है? काम, ए डिजायर उत्पन्न हो जाती है, कामना आ जाती है मन में, पाने की इच्छा हो जाती है. That कामना is the biggest obstacle in our path. The whole Bhagavad Gita is full of desire here, desire, sangat, everywhere it is given, packed all over. Bhagwan kitni baar काम की बात बोलते हैं. काम त्रिविधम नरकस्येदम द्वारम नाश कामः क्रोध, ये सब हमारे नरक के दरवाजे हैं, उसे हटना चाहिए. So what Bhagwan is saying here, that you should be training your sense organs in such a way that they do not get attracted towards the sense objects or Vishaya. One of the ways Bhagwan mentions in chapter 2, verse 58, Yada Sangarate Chayam, we have talked about that several times. Yada Sangarate Chayam Kurmunga Neva Sarvasaha Indriyanya. So we have to withdraw our senses in such a way as the tortoise withdraws its limbs. So example has been given by Bhagwan to explain to us that either you train your senses in such a way, apurjamana machala pratishtha samudramapah pravisantija. So you have trained your senses in such a way that it doesn't get attracted towards sense objects, or the moment it touches the sense organ, you withdraw it. The idea is to get disconnected. The contact between the sense objects and senses should be taken away. That is the one part, that is the Vishaya Havana Yajna. This is called Vishaya Havana Yajna. Then there is this Indriya Sanjam Yajna. That is the upper part. Srotradin Indriyanyanya Sanjam Agnishu Yujati. Here the oblation is sense organ. It is not the sense object. So one has to make a differentiation between senses, which is ours, within us, and sense objects, which are outside. विषय बाहर है और इंद्रियां हमारी हैं. सो पहली बात है कि हम विषयक से अपने को हटा लें. अगर विषय को हटा लिया आपने तो कल्याण हो गया. अगर विषय आप न हटा सके तो अपने इंद्रियों को तो वश में करो. हम इंद्रियों को वश में अगर कर लेंगे तो आते रहे जितने भी विषय, हमें तंग नहीं करेंगे. विषय will not be able to then disturb us. So here the difference is, there Bhagavan was talking about the sense objects. Here he is talking about the senses, the indriya. So, indriya sanjama karo. You have to get the senses trained. And what are our senses? We have got the ears, we have got eyes, our skin, our senses, and tongue and nose. These are our senses which are within us. And they are active in a way. When they get contact with the sense object, they get involved, they get activated, and then they start creating all kinds of problems. So Bhagavan says, how you will do it? Self-restraint at a mental stage. There is a stage, mental stage. You may not be physically withdrawing your senses. We are training your mind, because what is important, the action will only be registered if for any kriya, man ka involvement hai. If man is not involvement, kriya रहता है, वो कर्म नहीं होता. There is difference between karma and kriya. Kriya होती रहती है. We take breath and all activities are going on. We are not involved. So when we get involved through our mind, then that is karma. So karma phala hota hai. Otherwise things are going on. There is no karma phala for that. There is no resultant of those actions in which man is not entangled. So the entanglement of man is important to register a karma, and when that happens, then that karma will have karma phala. So Bhagavan says, at the level of man, if you are able to control in such a way that indriya syarthe, the object, sense objects and senses, they are interplaying with other. So what? I have nothing to do. I am not involved at all. So that is the feeling that only happens when we have been able to train. And the beautiful verse is that verse 70 for chapter 2, where it says, Apurjamana machala pratishta samudramapah pravisanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravisanti sarve sasanti namapin kama kami sasanti mapnoti. He attains tranquility of mind. Who? No kama, in which there is no desire. The desire has not cropped up into him. And how does desire crop up? Only when you allow the sense objects to disturb the senses and the mind gets affected by that. But if your mind is so like Samudra, in Samudra, all kinds of rivers, everything from water comes in, it doesn't lose its level. It remains steady. So that is the level of mind where all the kamas can come in and go. Then it doesn't disturb. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan atmanyeva atmanat pustaha sutta pragya satadochate, verse 55 of chapter 2, where Bhagavan is saying that sarvan kaman, all desires can come in and go. It doesn't disturb. One is able to restrain the effect of kama coming in, and that situation, he is one with the Brahma, Atmaneva Atmana, Sata Pragya Satatu. That is the state one should able to reach gradually and gradually. It doesn't take one day, but it is possible to train our mind in such a way that it doesn't run away towards the world and the senses, allow senses to get disturbed. So the fire here, the other verse here is, yes, Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya arabhati Arjuna karmendriya karam yogam asakta savishishyate. This is also a beautiful verse of 7. This says that all the indriyanis niyamya man mein niyam ek level like discipline. You have disciplined your mind in such a way that indriyani come and go. It doesn't disturb it. So the ultimate, I got one small phrase, man hari mein tan jagat mein karma jog tehi jaan. मन को भगवान में लगा दो तो तुम्हारा अगर तन अगर जगत में है, it doesn't matter, क्योंकि तन तो जगत में है ही है. In fact, the body is the part of sansar. So whatever the body is interacting with sansar, never mind. मन को हरि में लगा दो. अगर मन को हरि में लगा दिया, तन जगत में doesn't matter. आप कर्म योगी कहलाओगे. तो the train you either yogic principle से और भगवान में भक्ति से और ज्ञान का उपार्जन करके, if one is able to raise the level of their restraint in such a way that those waves come in and don't disturb the mind. That is what Bhagavan is saying in this verse. The two Yajna Bhagavan has talked about, and the ultimate main objective is that the sense objects and sense organs, they do not disturb the mind in spiritual practice. When you are practicing this, all the sadhanas, when you do, then it is the mind which gets disturbed. Mind gets agitated, and mind is not still. The stillness of mind is very, very important. For Bhakti Yoga में भी मन को लगाओ भगवान में. लगता है क्या? लगता नहीं है, भागता रहता है. तो मन को लगाने के लिए ट्रेन करना पड़ता है. That training part, restraining the mind, is also important, and I will deal with those in few. But just I have explained this before also, but I keep going back to this, and this must keep in mind that we have the sense objects in the environment, and we have our eyes sense organ. So there is interaction between these sense objects and sense organ, and of course mind has to support the control, support the senses, and the consciousness has to support the mind. Mind has to get interacted with eyes, with eye and the object you are. So either you cut off here, do not allow the sense object to disturb your senses, organs, sensory organ, or you control here where do not allow you, let mind, let the sense organ and sense object interplay, and you completely cut off from here. Your conscious, you are one with Brahma. Once Hari के में मन को लगा लिया तो जगत में जो हो रहा है ये तंग नहीं करेगा. We shall deal with this in some detail over few slides. See what is happening. We all are understanding the problem, that is the problem of mind. Mind keeps running here and there. I can say that we should control the mind, but how to control the mind? Saying is okay. Theoretically, it is quite all right. मन को नहीं होता है. If you try to sit down, concentrate, and try to ये वो मन आदत सो मुझे मन में लगा दो, लगता है क्या? Doesn't go for long. Why it is so? So Patanjali has studied this in tremendous detail. In fact, the whole Patanjali Yoga Shastra is full of one principle they are trying to attain, and that is the Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That is the how to restrain. It is okay. कह दिया हमने कि मन को control करो. How can you control it? It keeps running. So one has to go into the deeper part of understanding as to why ये मन भागता क्यों है. भगवान ने गीता में अर्जुन ने पूछा ही चंचलम हि मनः कृष्ण प्रभाति बलभद्रढ़ तस्याहम निग्रहम मन्ये वायुरिव सुदस्करम. जिस तरह से हवा, तेज हवा उठा कर ले जाती है चीजों को, उसी तरह से मन को भी ऐसा भागना पड़ता, भागता रहता है कि बस में नहीं आने को है. कितना भी बस करो, बस नहीं होता है. भगवान ने कहा कि यस असंशयम महाबाहो मनोहृदय निरुद्ध मन चंचलम स्थिरम. ये हम जानते हैं कि मन चंचल तो अभ्यास न जो कौन्तेय वैराग्य न च गृह्यते. He has given अभ्यास and वैराग्य. But how to अभ्यास? That also, see, you have to be more practical. If you sit down and say, मैं अभ्यास कर रहा हूँ, क्या अभ्यास कर रहे हो? What kind of practice you are doing? Let me go through this in some detail so that we get to the root of the issue and we understand exactly what is the cause of all the problem and how we are unable to restrain और चित्त को एकाग्र नहीं कर पाते हैं. मन को भगवान को भगवान ने पूछा था ना, तुमने कच्चिदेतत् श्रुतं पार्थ त्वयि काग्रेण चेतसा कच्चिद ज्ञान सम्मोह प्रणष्टस्ते धनंजय. तुमने उसमें था एकाग्र चित्त होकर के क्या तुमने सुना? ये चित्त की एकाग्रता, how to attain चित्त की एकाग्रता, that is what I will discuss in few of the slides which is here. Should I continue, Joshi ji?
I think we should have Vivek Kamran here, so we have to give some time to him.
Okay, shall I stop now?
Yeah, we can continue next Thursday.
Okay, thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna, I will continue this next Thursday.
Thank you
very
so much.
Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna.
And it has been a beautiful sermon by you, Dr. Prasadji, because you have covered many jewels from different parts of Bhagavad Gita. That's beautiful. And I was thinking about Maya Vaman Adiswa May Buddhim Niveshaya.
Exactly.
Where we all penetrate and understand. So without thinking, give your mind to Krishna, intellect will go there. Thank you so much. And I would really appreciate if you can take the diagram one slide before that and take it from there and move forward. It was very powerful. Thank you so much. So I see Sri Vivek Kamranji is here. So I humbly request him to take a few minutes and talk about our conference coming. We meet every week, Wednesday, and discuss and plan about it. I am part of it. I want Vivek ji to come on regular basis and take few minutes to share with us the progress, anything we can do. So Vivek ji, if you're listening to me, please take over.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. First of all, such a profound message by Prasad ji. Thank you so much. So beautiful hearing you. It looks like a professor talking to us.
That's
And
why
we're- and
we
we are in class 101 and you are in class 1008. That's the
No,
difference.
no. ऐसी बात नहीं है.
It was very, very profound. Chapter 4, chapter 2. आपको इसमें book बना देनी चाहिए सबके लिए. It is so profound. Honestly, you should share this. This is very, very profound. And ये जो गीता गोष्ठी आप करते हैं, हम सब यहाँ को बताएंगे, especially like Dr. Ved Sharma and others, they should join this because this is so intellectual. I am more of an engineer. I'm not like Kunal, but I am a very practical person. But there's a lot of others that Chandra Prakash and many others, you should get to hear them. They are just like you. Maybe I shouldn't say that. They are definitely maybe 508, maybe not 1008. But they are very professional, very professional. But I was so pleased to hear जो आपने कहा है, अच्छा इसके ऊपर हमको भेज देना, सबको भेज देना चाहिए जिसको आपकी slides हैं. They're very beautiful and very, very practical, very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. In fact, I don't know why Joshi ji put me on. You should have continued. You were on such a nice roll. ये जरूर है मन को हरि में लगा लेना जैसे आपने कहा था. बस और कुछ है ही नहीं उसके बारे में क्या कह सकते हैं. But I will share something. I will put on my share screen, Joshi ji, and we will go from there. Let me try. I'm going to put, and you get to see me, and I'll put the screen on. Jai Ho, Jai Ho. Okay. इसको देख सकते हैं आप जोशी जी?
जी बिल्कुल.
Okay. So let me minimize this. So this particular conference जो है, it is really on, Prasad ji जैसे आपने कहा था, this is on anger management, ego management, and desire management. If I was to put it together, the three main evils that we talk about, and they started because यहाँ से बच्चे जो हैं, I shouldn't say बच्चे, these are 40-year-olds, 35-year-olds that would come to the ashram and say, Uncle, हमको तो कुछ ये गीता में समझ आता नहीं है, and आप लोग ये श्लोका वगैरह बड़े high level पे हो, we don't know anything. So this is the generation for today. And I said, what is it that you like? He said, we have the following questions. We asked about maybe 10, 15 of these grown-ups, I would say, not kids, right? They're grown-ups. And उनमें से ये जो questions आए थे, ये कहा था कि भैया, how do we overcome the difficulties in our life that we have day to day? And what does Bhagavad Gita tell you about that? Don't tell me about these shlokas, but tell me, where do I have to go to find this? And in a very generic fashion, उनके पास time ही नहीं है, जैसे कपूर साहब कहते हैं, किसके पास कहाँ time है, right? So that is where we said, okay, rather than talk about karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and gyan yoga, and all these fine things, we get into the basics of life management. And यहाँ पे भी एक संस्था है Minneapolis में, and they are from the south, Karnataka से हैं, and Sumedha group is what they are. They also kind of teach their kids these types of skills. So that is why we said, how do we talk about what is the Gita and how do we overcome difficulties in life? जैसे विषाद योगा के ऊपर बात करते हैं. So इसीलिए हमने कहा, जोशी जी, what can you do about that? How can you do that? What is our purpose of life? How do we overcome grief? Sub chapter 2 में जैसे आप बता रहे थे सब, right? So how do we do that to these younger generation folks so they can deep dive into it, not deep dive, at least show them where it's coming from. So they can relate to it. Maybe they might be able to teach their उनके बच्चों को भी समझा सकते हैं. तो desire and anger कहाँ से आती है, for example. So some other day I'll talk about it. जो गुरुदेव ने कहा था, उसकी हमने एक थोड़ी booklet publish की है. We'll talk about that. So गुरुदेव के जो प्रवचन हैं जो जोशी जी कहते हैं, आप लोग पीटर जी कहते हैं, so we took some of those. तो उसका जो essence है, the idea we had gotten from, I don't know if anyone of you have been to Self-Realization Fellowship, Paramahansa Yoginanda ki. Have you been there by any chance, Joshi ji?
No,
Or
I heard
anybody?
about it. I've never been there, but I know a lot about it.
I have to take you there, and Peter ji too, and to. आप तो सैन डिएगो में रहते हैं, आपको जाना चाहिए, प्रसाद जी. You should go there. It is a beautiful thing, and I had told Gurudev about it. I think Vilay Didi may have been there. So it is a place, वहाँ से मैंने ये सीखा था, जो उन्होंने booklets बनाई थी अपने गुरु के ऊपर, उनके प्रवचनों के ऊपर. Okay, those are really profound. They're very simple, and they convey a message that anybody can read. So that was the idea. So on desire and anger, जो गुरुजी ने मैं कहा है, वो बुकलेट में पब्लिश किया कि भैया एंगर्स कहाँ से आते हैं. हम तो हर वक्त सुनते हैं, मुझे 10 दफा सुनना पड़ा था, maybe 20 times, till I finally got that message that where does anger come from? वो कामना और क्रोध कहाँ से आता है. तो ये जो चीजें हैं, ये हमने सोचा है कि ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस है उसके अंदर डालेंगे, and hopefully we can have a dialogue with them, and how to get peace of mind, mindfulness, prayer, meditation. So Satya ji, for example, she is going to come and do a workshop here, right? And so on and so forth. So all of you should come. Prasad ji, you have to come. You must come. Peter ji, you must come. I hope you're feeling better. So this is what the conference is about in a nutshell. And the jo key speakers hain yahan pe, Bhuminanda ji, you've heard him before, Joshi ji. And Bhuminanda ji, exceptional speaker. And उनके पास कभी चले जाओ तो ऐसा लगता है गुरु जी के पास पहुंच गए, to be very honest. It is completely mind-boggling. Peter ji, if you were to meet him, or Prasad ji, you will say he's a ditto copy of Guruji. I mean, it's completely, just the vibrations you get. But his main thing is he has written so many booklets. One is the Song of the Soul. It is all on a Guru. And there's so many booklets. Beautiful Geeta. I'll be sending you a copy, Joshiji, of his Geeta. Very nicely done. But he is all about how to get to know yourself, and you can become God yourself. I mean, that is what his whole thing is, that, each one of us can do that. I don't think I could ever even think about it, but all about ego management is what he talks about. So, so he will be on. And this Rupa Pai that you've heard of, by the way, I don't know if you heard about her, but she is exceptional on the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita ko unhone aise bana diya hai. Let me share something. This is the book. It is very practical. You can get it out of Amazon too. But the interesting thing is a lot of parents are reading it because it's very easy reading. For example, he says, let me give you a thing from her quickly. I'll just give up then. It says lessons from the Gita. You are what you eat. We say that all the time, right? Or somebody else might say garbage in, garbage out, right? So they have explained it so well. And then he says, Krishna provides us with a perfect excuse. What are our faults? What are our faults? Because it's not our faults, it's my nature. It's got a very, very different way of explaining things, I would say that. And that is in her book. So we do have, for the conference, you can register online. This is being worked on right now. You should have it in the next couple of days. You can register. You can come on Zoom, obviously. You can sponsor a chapter for the Havan when Guru Ma will be here. Obviously, she will be here for the conference and for that whole week. So that is what we're looking at right now. So we expect, hopefully we can get a couple hundred people here. That would be a nice thing to do. So try to come, try to make it. Yes, and we will have host families here. So you don't have to stay in a hotel at all. So that is the nice thing about it. So I hope that we get this message across, and it's especially for the youth. And there's another one, it's a workshop panel, And there's another big panel on doctors. Joshiji, you know, obviously Atul should be coming. So we have a panel discussion on doctors who are saving lives. So यहाँ पे there was a heart surgeon that we met and a cancer specialist, and he speaks very well on the Bhagavad Gita also, Joshiji. So we have some doctors. अब जैसे हमारे अपने हैं, Dr. Sharma भी तो हैं, right? He's a doctor cardiologist. So how does God fit in with the equation of serving humanity? And then with doctors, you know, how do we answer the question that what is life and when is the end of life? So a lot of very practical thinking, I think, will come out of this conference. And so we welcome you. And I've taken too much time. I think, Joshiji, I'm very sorry for that.
No,
But
thank you so much.
I'll just give you a briefer on this. And thanks again. And my apologies, Prasadji, for taking the time away. I should not have done that.
No. You have done great job.
But
Swami
thanks.
Bhumanandaji, he was in
Anji.
Malaysia. He was in Malaysia when I was there. And I had the opportunity to meet him, and he came to Gita ashram there in Gita in
उन्होंने
Malaysia.
बताया था मुझे. Yes,
And,
बताया था उन्होंने मुझे.
Yeah.
And he is a very beautiful person. So he will be joining us. And आप तो San Diego से यहाँ से आ रहे होगे, फिर you have to come. There is no excuse.
He's in Sacramento, far away from San Diego.
Yeah, I am in Sacramento.
Sacramento. That's not far from Minneapolis. You have to come. Just get a flight.
Distance.
Well, I do want to thank everyone, and I see a couple of devotees came at 7:30. I want to tell them the timing is 6:30 Chicago time, 7:30 New York time. So maybe there was some confusion to Mukundi and Pamin Vaidyaji. So next time it is 6:30. So we will see you again. And this information will be emailed to most of you. Please send your registration if you're coming on Zoom or you're going personally. I have been there before. They will take care of you so well. Thank you again, all of you. Thank you, Dr. Prasadji, and thank you, Vivek Kamraji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Sri Krishna, everyone.